Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Today on Taladus Plays, we're continuing with our Kerbal Space Program Career Mode playthrough. A couple of notes. For starters, check your settings. In the settings menu, I've gone down here and activated a very, very important option called Advanced Tweakables. Make sure that's enabled because that's going to really help us out when it comes to using a thing called Auto Strut. Auto Strut makes your rockets a lot more stable without having to attach hundreds and hundreds of clunky struts to the outside. Also, we've made a few more upgrades to our Kerbal Space Center. For one, we have upgraded the launch pad fully, so now our vessels can be any size and any weight. And another upgrade we have done is to the astronaut complex. So the astronaut complex allows the Kerbals to perform EVAs, extra vehicular activities. It's going to come in handy because we want Jebediah to get us some extra science. You look at our missions here. We have a contract to ferry 6 tourists to the moon. They want to orbit the moon and check it out. But we don't have the right engine for our needs. So before we do this mission, I'm actually going to do a quick little scientific exploration around Kerbin with Jeb and some science tools. So let's whip up a fast rocket here that can hold Jeb and a few extra science experiments so that we can boost our science up in order to do a little bit more research and development. Let's get started. So again, I decided to use Valentina for this mission so she gets a little bit more experience. She has not orbited Kerbin yet. T for SAS, Z to throttle up. And I'm actually going to hit X and only use shift to throttle up to about here, because we are only using this liquid fuel for now just to kind of steer ourselves a little bit to the east. So let's get it cracking. So I'm going to actually hit one of these while we're in the atmosphere. So observe mystery goo. There we go. Upper atmosphere. Keep that experiment. Also going to log the temperature. Upper atmosphere. Keep that experiment. And let's go ahead and log pressure data from upper atmosphere because that'll be its own set of data. Once we enter space itself, we get a whole new set of data from our other science experiments. So let's rotate here. Show the other side of the spacecraft. And there it is, in space. Right-clicking this one, logging temperature. So temperature scan near Kerbin, so we'll keep that. And lastly, we could do another mystery goo. And observing in space near Kerbin, so that's 10 more science there. We're keeping that. So we're not resetting these goo canisters because we can't until we use a scientist on a mission. Right now, we are only using a pilot because we have a single seat on our command pod. So later on, we will be able to reset science experiments, but for now, they're effectively disposable, one-time use for the most part. Some you can reuse after getting data, like I believe the thermometers, but we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. I'll speed up here just to get to my apps. Again, that's 80 kilometers. We're 78 and rising. I'll check the map here. I'm going to click on the apps and create a maneuver node, scrolling up to get a circularized orbit here. We don't want to get too high because Valentina is doing just a brief mission here. So I'm scrolling down on the prograde to reduce the amount of fuel used, just so we get things looking good. Again, if the apps and peri-apps go to the sides, like they are here, left and right, that's a pretty good indicator that you've created a theoretically circular orbit. So again, I'm pressing M, going back to normal view. Let's get a good look at the craft here. And I'm going to line this up with my maneuver node. Again, very quick burn, only about 4 seconds. So we're waiting until we get to roughly T-minus 2 seconds. Then we'll burn for 4, cut the engines, and it should be roughly circularized. I'm not going to worry about getting it exact because this mission's going to be pretty quick. We're just getting some fast EVA science. I'll show you how that works in just a minute. All right, and there's our burn. I almost missed it, but that's okay. There you go, you can see we have apps 84, peri-apps 81. They're both over 70, so we will not hit the atmosphere anymore. And here's how you do a little bit of quick science. Let's quick save first, so you never know what will happen with the Kraken. We'll EVA Valentina here. And if we right-click on Valentina, we can click EVA report. Now this says just above Kerbin's water. So we keep that experiment. Press B to board the ship. And again, I haven't even let go of the ladder, so press B to board here. And now it'll say that the EVA report from just above Kerbin's water has been added. You can also right-click here and do a crew report. Now I remember I actually already got a crew report from space, so it says this is worth no science because I've already technically gotten that data from a previous mission. So we'll just reset that experiment for now. And what I like to do is basically let the craft kind of naturally orbit Kerbin, and you get new science from each biome. So when you're over the water, you'll get a certain EVA report from that. If I go EVA again, and I right-click on Valentina here, I will get the same report. So we're still over the water. Again, if you accidentally press spacebar and you start floating away from your craft, don't worry, because you can tap R, and that turns on your RCS, which is basically a jetpack. You'll see those little puffs coming out. You can use W, A, S, and D to sort of move around on the lateral plane. So forward is W, S is backwards, A is left, and D is right. Shift will make you go up, and Control will make you go down. So by using a combination of all of these, you can control your Kerbal in space. And lastly, you'll notice we are now on the dark side of the planet. So if you click up here, you can click the light action group. That will turn on your Kerbal's headlamps. And look at that, if I get close to the craft, suddenly it is illuminated by Valentina's headlamps. So very useful for finding a spaceship in the dark. Let's go ahead and get back on board. So to get back on board, again, you want to use very, very short activations of the jetpack to slowly get there. You can tap F when you get the notification to grab onto a ladder, and then B will let you board. There we go. I want to get data from different areas, so let's wait till we're over land. I can't quite tell where the land starts, though, since we're on the night side of the planet. So let's just tap period here to fast forward a little bit. I'm going to go about 50 times speed, slow down again, and we'll just see. We'll go EVA with Valentina. Right-click on her. EVA report. That's more water, so reset, reboard. And it's rinse and repeat. Just keep fast forwarding and popping out every once in a while. I like to fast forward about 50 times. Slow down to normal speed. You can only EVA in normal speed. Right click Valentina when she's EVA'd. EVA report. Grasslands. Okay. So that's a new biome. We got new data. Keep that experiment and press B to board. Another good idea is to try to get your EVA report when you're just over one of the shorelines, because when you cross into a different biome, you have a better chance about getting a sort of a randomized biome. It's not common, but it'll happen. Again, this isn't something you'll do consistently throughout the game. It's just a nice way to get some kind of quick and easy early science. So I'm waiting until my craft gets a little bit over shoreline area. I'm gonna right-click Valentina, do an EVA report. Oh, look there, just above Kerbal shores. So that's a new biome. You have to board after each EVA report to store it in the command pod. But after it's stored, you can EVA and take another one. So it's kind of a nice one to repeat. This crater impact zone looks like it might have mountainous biome. So I can now put in a quick save just to be safe. And I'll time warp until I get close to the crater edge here. Looking down at the planet, this might afford me a new biome data for my EVA reports. EVA Valentina. I click on her, EVA report. Again, you can rinse and repeat. Oh, there we go. Just above Kerbal's Mountains. So we'll keep that. Keep trying it again. Highlands, that's a new one. We'll keep that on board. This looks like it might be a desert biome. So let's fast forward a bit more. Deserts. Ah, it is a biome. Excellent. We'll keep that. Pretty sure that's all we'll get for now on our biomes. We're actually getting close to the Kerbal Space Center. It's right here. So if I point my craft retrograde, again, that means pointing away from the direction that we're orbiting. So backwards. I can use shift to slowly throttle up the engine. Let's take a look here. I basically want to be dropping in right over the Space Center. So I'm actually going to make my orbit significantly lower than I usually would, because we have a lot of fuel remaining, so this should be alright. That feels pretty good there. Hit X. We still have about 430 meters of delta V left, so quick save. And let's EVA one last time with Valentina and get this data. So again, when we remove data from the goo pods, it will make the module inoperable. You have to restore functionality with a scientist. But we're removing this data because I don't think these goo canisters are going to survive re-entry. We'll also take the data from the thermometers. There we go. And we'll take the data from the barometer, because that might also burn off during re-entry. So even if we lose all of those scientific experiments on the side of the capsule, we will still get that very, very important data. One more quick save while we're still kind of high up. And it looks like I'm coming in at a good clip. I'll be able to save this last stage and burn a little bit more retrograde if I'm coming in too fast. Otherwise, I'll just ditch it and we'll try to land as close as we can at the Kerbal Space Center. And we have splashdown. Mystery goo containment units ended up surviving re-entry, but it's good to have that data just in case. And that's our first orbital spacewalk. And here is our recovery. Look at all that science. EVA reports from all over the planet. We've also got the mystery goo data, the temperature scans, and the atmospheric pressure scan. Total of 94.7 science earned. Good return on our parts from the command pod. And of course, our crew, Valentina Kerman, got enough experience for her first level. And let's check our research and development. With 117 science, we now have a nice little budget to play with. First off, on advanced rocketry, we are definitely going to get this node because it features the Terrier liquid fuel engine, which is a very efficient engine for smaller rockets in space. That's going to help us out quite a bit. We also get a larger fuel tank. Instead of using a bunch of the 200s, we now have a 400, which is double the size. We still have a good chunk of science left, so we could afford one more of these nodes. This is aviation, which is good for traditional airplanes that operate within the atmosphere of the planet itself. There's also flight control, which gives us a few more winglets to help stabilize our craft, as well as the inline reaction wheel. What this does is it lets you have a little bit of control over your craft without using actual atmospheric interaction. So we'll research this because a little bit of control is always good to have.